Hello there, and welcome to my channel. You know, British politics has always had its imitators. For every Winston Churchill, there was someone trying to sound like Churchill. For every Margaret Thatcher, there was someone trying to become Thatcher. And now for every Nigel Farage, there appears to be a Rupert Lowe, or as I like to call him, the quintessential dollar store Farage. Now before the comment section explodes, let me explain. This isn't because Rupert Lowe lacks confidence. He certainly doesn't. And it's not because he lacks ambition. He clearly has plenty of that. Given that the man has known success in business and appears to be the better statesman in comparison to Farage,
you elected me to Parliament in 2024. The good people of Great Yarmouth elected me. Not for 1 second in Westminster have I forgotten that.
I would give you the caveat that he would have been the better leader for Reform UK. But right now, that opportunity seems dead. What I am arguing here is simply this, that so much of what Restore Britain appears to be doing feels like a lower budget remake of a political film that we have already seen before. A relevant example would be an asylum production film of a blockbuster that does major numbers at the box office. Think Transmorphers for every Transformer movie out there. Restore Britain has the same anti-establishment messaging, the same immigration focus, the same elite bashing, and the same appeal to frustrated voters. But without the infrastructure, without the organization, without the decade-long political movement behind it, and without a credible political hot-button issue that can clearly be used as the fuel to give it the fire it needs to really take off. And this is simply because that particular well has been tapped out in near irrelevance at this point, and ironically by the Reform Party. But more on this later. Today, we are looking at why Restore Britain currently looks less like the next major political force and more like a political boogeyman. A movement that generates headlines, generates outrage, generates social media clips, but struggles to answer the most important question in politics. How exactly are you planning to win? And with all that said, let's begin.
Let's go!
The first problem is surprisingly simple. What is Restore Britain actually offering that voters can already get elsewhere? Because that is where the trouble starts. Take a look at Reform UK. Whether you support them or despise them, they have a clear identity. For years, they have built a narrative around immigration, sovereignty, anti-establishment politics, and government reform.
For many months now, I've been saying Britain is broken, Britain needs reform, and that's been on all our literature, all our campaigns. We used it running up to the county council elections on May the 1st, which of course we won.
The average voter understands the brand. Now look at Restore Britain. What is their unique selling point? Why should someone leave Reform UK and join Restore Britain? What's the difference? This is where things become a bit fuzzy. Many voters struggle to identify a meaningful distinction. And yes, I have heard the argument that Nigel Farage is a snake and will betray their hopes and dreams down the line.
Nigel Farage is a snake. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, reform's definitely not the way to go. I don't think he has the Englishman's interests at all.
Which, mind you, I know all too well. However, the sentiment does not negate the dangers ahead of Restore Britain's platform, because successful political parties solve a problem. And Restore Britain often feels like a reaction to a personality conflict rather than a response to a political gap. And voters are surprisingly good at spotting the difference.
I think he started the party out of sheer spite. He thought he was a big noise in reform before Nigel fired him. And I think this is just his revenge because he knows what's going to happen come the election. This is going to split the reform vote. A lot of people are going to vote for Rupert and not for Nigel. I mean, he's saying silly things. He's saying things like that Restore Britain is polling at 10% of the vote. It's tosh. So these policies, you can drive a truck through them.
And no, going further to the right of Farage does not rectify the issue, because that kind of politics leads straight into the lane of the British National Party. And if my memory serves, they were on the fringes of acceptable politics and were never electable in the first place. Unless you're talking about the 2 seats they won in the European Parliament in 2009, which honestly, who gives a fuck about that? Because there was always a few of those in every European elections. But I digress. But to really give you an understanding of the limitations of Restore Britain in comparison to Reform UK, we must first take a look at the leaders of both parties. Nigel Farage, for all his failings and defects, spent decades building political capital. He wasn't created overnight. He lost elections, he built parties, he toured the country, he cultivated supporters. He slowly became one of Britain's most recognizable political figures. He can be considered rightfully in my book as one of those I call the weathermen. Iconic individuals who shape events in their worldview and force the world to bend to them. Tony Benn, Neil Kinnock, Margaret Thatcher, and Enoch Powell can all be considered a part of this very class. However, Rupert Lowe appears to have skipped several chapters in the making of his would-be political saga. It's a little like someone watching Rocky and deciding to become a heavyweight champion after buying the shorts. It simply doesn't work that way. Farage built a movement. Lowe often appears to be building a brand. And those are very different things. A movement has activists. A movement has local branches. A movement has candidates. A movement survives when the leader isn't in the room, which, mind you, the Reform Party is perfectly capable of doing. The system has taken root and is evolving bit by bit. But a brand depends on attention, and attention is notoriously unreliable. I should know this from personal experience here on YouTube. And guess what? Politics is in YouTube. You don't win because a clip gets 2 million views. You win because people show up at the polling stations. And before you even start typing in my comment section how they didn't make a field, understand that a protest vote is only that, a protest vote. It's not a sign of any future earthquakes to come. And I also know how they won 10 seats in the local elections. And my simple response is this. This is not even 1% of Reform UK's entire seat tally. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. We must also consider tactics when building a political platform. And this is something that all savvy politicians know how to use effectively. One of Lowe's most visible tactics is taking aim at the British civil service. And to be fair, criticism of bureaucracy can be entirely legitimate. Governments waste money, departments make mistakes, public institutions deserve scrutiny, and I am down for all of that. The problem is that Restore Britain's approach often feels designed for virality first and solutions second. You know the type of clip. A heated exchange, a dramatic confrontation, a sharp one-liner.
There's always a report, it's always going to be published in due course. We keep hearing this from the civil service, and frankly it's not good enough.
It's not my decision on when and whether the report is published.
It's your decision.
Thousands of retweets, mission accomplished. The issue is that humiliating civil servants isn't the same thing as reforming the civil service. One generates views, the other requires policy. One creates engagement, the other requires competence. And right now, there seems to be far more emphasis on the former than the latter. It's politics as content, not politics as governance. And as a side note, if Rupert Lowe knew or thought that he had a chance of ever being a Prime Minister, I don't think he would be using this approach. Because humiliating the very individuals you will inevitably need to enact your policies to ensure a successful governance is the definition of stupidity. Intelligent people that have the duty of running the affairs of a country have very good memories. So how would you think they would work peacefully with the leader of a party who chooses to make them their punching bag? And now, my friends, let's consider the issue of funding. Because without the holy grail of our Lord and Savior, money, kaching, the moolah, a political party simply cannot be a viable option. And when it comes to politics, other people's money is a safer option than using your own money, unless you want to risk ruin. But the glaring drawback to this is the fact that you will now be indebted to your donors. Reform UK has money to burn. Hell, Farage gets a 5 million donation like his takeout from a kebab shop. And yes, I do understand that Lowe is rich, but he is not old money nor crypto rich. This little problem leaves us with finding a legitimate source of funding for Restore Britain. Enter the world's richest hype machine, Elon Musk.
American astronauts into space. Come here. Take over, Elon, just take over.
Restore Britain has benefited enormously from Musk's interest and support, and that is great for visibility. His platform, X, has been the biggest generator of possible voters for him since day one. Evidence of this is his quick rise to 100,000 registered members after one simple tweet. At £20 per year for a standard membership, I guess 2 million can be considered a tidy sum for Mr. Lowe. You go, man. But I have to rain on your parade, for visibility isn't everything. In fact, it can become a weakness. Because the more a movement depends on Musk's attention, the more people start asking uncomfortable questions. If Elon Musk stopped talking about Restore Britain tomorrow, would anybody seriously be considering this party as anything to talk about? You see, a durable political movement should be able to survive independently. Political parties need members, candidates, councillors, ground campaigns, door knockers, not just repost. You can't govern a country with quotes and tweets. Believe me, Donald Trump has tried, and look where that ended up with the Iran war.
Does he look like a bitch?
I would also like to add that as a watcher of political movements, I also get the impression that Restore Britain is nowhere close to their contemporaries on the hard right. Take the German party AfD, or Portugal's Chega, or historically, the National Front in France. Whatever your opinion of these parties, they understood a crucial lesson. Organization beats outrage. Every single time, in fact. These parties invested years in building local structures, recruiting candidates, developing regional support, creating the disciplined messaging, building voter databases, winning municipal elections, expanding gradually. None of this was exciting. None of it goes viral. But it's how political parties become contenders. Let's take a simple look at German politics. The AfD are now the highest rated political party in the nation, and no amount of firewall will ever stop them. And these guys are as closest to the Nazi party as you can ever get in the 21st century. Restore Britain currently appears obsessed with the exciting parts of politics. Their speeches, their clips, their controversies, their headlines. The problem is that elections are won through boring things. The spreadsheets beat the memes. AfD understood that. Chega understands that. Restore Britain still appears to believe that social media momentum can substitute for organizational strength. History suggests otherwise. Even if Restore Britain slowly solved every other issue on this list, it will still face one enormous obstacle. Reform UK already exists. Restore Britain is chasing many of the same voters, the same activists, the same donors, the same media attention, and the same anti-establishment audience. And that is incredibly difficult because Reform possesses something invaluable: political momentum. It has MPs, it has councillors, it has infrastructure, it has recognition, it is gaining legitimacy. Most importantly, it has Farage. And compared to him, Lowe looks like a high school singer competing against Freddie Mercury.
Well, that's great. That's just fucking great, man.
Love him or hate him, Farage remains one of the most effective communicators in British politics.
On May the 7th, in the Midlands, Yorkshire, all the north of England, Reform scored absolutely stunning victories in areas that Labour had dominated for the best part of 100 years. The sheer scale of our victory against Labour made it inevitable that this Prime Minister could not survive.
Rupert Lowe is not competing against an empty space. He is competing against an established political brand, and that is a much harder challenge. So as the final word on Lowe, the irony is that Rupert Lowe does have strengths. He's media savvy, he's outspoken, he's willing to challenge institutions, he's good at attracting attention, but attention alone is not enough. If Restore Britain wants to become a serious political force, it needs to stop acting like a social media campaign and start acting like a political movement. Build the local branches, develop distinctive personalities, create a clear identity separate from Reform, focus on solutions instead of constant confrontations, and certainly reduce your reliance on celebrity endorsements, because in this modern world, nobody really gives a fuck about them. And spend less time trying to become the next Farage. That game is rigged. You can ask Starmer as he cried his way out of resigning in number 10.
And when I leave the biggest job in the country, I shall spend more time on the most important job, being the best husband I can to my fantastic wife Vic, who has been a rock by my side through good times and bad.
Voters already have a Farage. The question isn't whether Rupert Lowe can dominate social media. The question is whether he can build something that survives when the algorithm moves on. And right now, Restore Britain feels less like a political revolution and more like a political reaction, a movement searching for a purpose, a brand searching for a base, and a dollar store Farage trying to compete with the original. Because in politics, being loud gets you attention, being organized wins elections, and those are not the same thing. But as always, thank you for your time. Until next time, friends.